Did you see that news clip?
If you enjoy the video, hit the like. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe.
Welcome to another episode of Clips of News, where I go over different news clips and news stories, and I share them with you in hopes that you too would think that they are important and just pay attention to these things and what's happening, right? And on today's episode, I want to talk about a law that, well, not really a law, but stuff that's going on in Texas, right? And I am from Florida, but I understand that we are all connected and the whole world is connected. And more specifically, as you get into the micro connections, you see that the closer we are, the more integrated that we are, right? So Texas is important because the laws that they're setting essentially like send a message to the other states that, hey, these laws are possible, like these laws can pass, people will go for them, right? So being that election time is coming up in November, and essentially almost every year there's an election, whether it's your local election or it's a federal election, but every year there is an election, right? So we should be actively every single year voting, because that's where part of the country. But today I want to talk about the ESG laws, right? And first, what we're going to do, the ESG law in Texas, and why this is a huge problem. I mean, a major, serious problem. And it's because essentially what Texas has been doing is hurting our consumerism. It's hurting consumerism. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are against capitalism, right? And I'm not one of those people. I actually think capitalism is a beautiful structure if used correctly. And so what I'm talking about is one of the ways to control these corporations is by our spending power, the money. The money is how we control corporations, right? And I've been preaching this for so long. Not spending your money with certain companies will force that company to do better, right? So like Netflix's huge price hikes that they're about to do, and they're ending the whole binge model. So they're not going to drop the whole season of a show anymore. Instead, what they're going to do now is they're going to, start releasing episodes, one new episode a week, things like that, right? Like how these other platforms do it. And if people really wanted to punish Netflix, what they would do is cancel their subscriptions. So they would just say, yeah, well, if you do that, then I cancel. I don't even want Netflix no more. Their subscription base would plummet, and they would instantly say, oh, snap, we made a mistake. We take that back. We're not going to do that anymore. And then they would see that their subscription base starts going up again. Why? Because people are deciding what's good for the business and what's not. Because remember, a business's motto is usually the customer is always right. So they want to make people happy, right? And if we keep buying their products, then we're telling them that we're happy with what they're doing. That's where ESG comes in, right? ESG started to make it easier for consumers or investors to force companies into doing good things for the planet, for their workers, and for society as a whole in general. So we're going to jump into this, and I'm going to leave links in the description, right? But we're going to jump into this explanation of ESG, and then we will get into the Texas law. And it's a 2-minute video, but I'm not going to watch that. So I just want to explain to you what ESG is. ESG is environmental, social, and governance. And a stock would be labeled ESG, right? Which means that this company they care about the environment, they care about social justice, and they care about governance. Governance as in like how they control their workers, right? So here it is. ESG 3 central factors are environmental criteria, which examines how a business performs as a steward of our natural environment, right? So again, how they care about the earth. Are they helping to curb what's currently happening? How all over the world, right, especially in America, half the country's on fire. Water pollution going on in our society. You're talking about floods all over the place. Pakistan got flooded flooding all over the place. There's droughts going on all over the world. So does the company care about what they're doing to the planet, and are they trying to do better? Then you got the social criteria, which looks at how the company treats people and concentrates on their employees. So are they paying their people enough? Are they treating them good? Local communities, the health and safety of their people, right? Things like that. And then governance criteria, which examines how corporations policies itself, how the company is governed and focused. So are they paying their taxes? What are they doing with these high CEOs? Are they overpaying these people, right? Is the people in power diverse? Are they hiring enough black people? Are they making donations and helping the world and society in a whole? And that's essentially what ESG is. So effectively, the whole point of ESG, the whole point of labeling a company as ESG and all of that stuff, is literally to say that this company is trying to do better for the world. This company is doing good for the world, for all of us, for everybody, and for the future. Because one of the biggest problems that we have in our society is this permeated idea that the end is near. Oh, society, the world is coming to an end very soon. That's not true. No, we are infants. Our society, our world is a baby compared to the overall vast timeline, right? You're talking about planets go dead over millions, billions of years before a planet dies, right? A species, yes, can die off within years. You're talking like a snap, right? That's me snapping my fingers, by the way. You're talking instantly, right? They die off in like years. But a planet takes much longer. That being said, ESG is focused on businesses that are thinking forward, that are saying to themselves, society will be here for the next 100 years, 3,000 years, and we want to be a part of that. That's what ESG talks about, right? So Texas, here's why I'm bringing up Texas. Here's the problem. So Texas governor signed into, let me read it like this. Last year, Texas put its money where its mouth was by barring local governments from doing business with banks it said didn't support oil, gas, and guns. So what happened was the banks, after the last mass shooting at the schools and stuff, the banks was like, hey, listen, we're not going to support guns, gas, and oil. The gas and oil came from the environment, right? Again, it's half of California is burning up. You got Utah burning up. We got a bunch of, is it Utah? I think so. But we got a bunch of states all over America burning up. We got water crisis going on. We got even the earthquakes are starting to happen, right? The flooding happening. So the banks was like, yo, we don't want to be a part of that. We don't want to do that. Boom. So Texas banned them. Basically, stop doing the bonds. This is where like bonds come in. Municipal bonds, buying and selling of municipal bonds. Has a whole nother video on its own. But essentially, the governor decided that he was going to punish the banks by telling cities and local governments that they can't do business with those banks. Economists now say that move came at a cost. Of course, it costs the city. It costs money to deny the banks from doing business with them. That's like why a lot of businesses went out of business during the time of like Jim Crow and racism, because you're going to tell me that my money's no good here because I'm black, so you don't want to make no money. You don't want no money then. But today we analyze Texas's live experiment trying to just, so you would have to listen to the story. It's 9 minutes. I'm not going to play it. But essentially by them banning the ESG, like I said, the problem with that is they're telling companies and corporations that by doing right by society, by people, by their employees, that they're going to be punished. And this is a major problem because we control the corporations by us spending money with them. We control the corporations by us not taking the job. So if they say, hey, come and be the manager of a McDonald's for $5 an hour, as long as people don't take the job, guess what? They're going to have to say, all right, well, we'll give you $20 an hour to be a manager at McDonald's, because clearly offering $5, nobody wants to do it. At $20 an hour, oh my gosh, look how many applications we have. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with the corporations. Oh, wow. Look at sales. Sales have gone down because the sneakers cost $1,000. But once we drop the price to $500, The sales for the sneakers have shot up. Oh my gosh, what happened? Well, the price, duh, right? So it's the same concept. As long as corporations do right, so they're protecting the planet, they're throwing away their waste, they're paying their employees a good amount of money, they're helping society, the local communities by, fundraising, giving to the schools, paying for after school programs, things like that. Like, these corporations are doing good for the world. We buy their products. We promote their business. We ensure that they stay in business, right? We do that, the consumers, because we control them, just like we control the politicians. They don't do what we tell them. So the governor, the governor, he should be voted out of power. He should be voted out. They should vote him out because, bro, what are you talking about? Why are you punishing banks and corporations for doing good? No, you need to go and let's get somebody in who will encourage the banks to do better and give them tax incentives to continue to pay their employees better money and do right by the planet and things like that. Oh yeah, and in Georgia, if you're in Georgia, make sure you vote for Stacey Abrams. She's running for governor. And check out my video on voting coming soon. I'm working on some more like political videos, to be honest with you. Like how politics works, how voting works, right? Why jury duty is important. Different like laws. Like, I want to get more into like laws that are happening all over America, because this stuff is important, man, and we control these things simply by voting and not voting. It's all connected. So with that being said, man, let's all remember that we all out here doing the same thing, just trying to survive and be happy. Y'all stay blessed.